Welcome to the program. Today we will learn about Situational Leadership Approach by Hersey and Blanchard. Situational Leadership Model was created by author Paul Hersey and leadership expert Ken Blanchard. In the year 1969, Blanchard and Hersey developed situational leadership theory in their classic book Management of Organizational Behavior. This theory was first called the life cycle theory of leadership. During the mid-1970s, it was renamed to the situational leadership theory. The fundamental principle of the situational leadership model is that there is no single best style of leadership. Effective leadership is task relevant, and the most successful leaders are those who adapt their leadership style to the ability and willingness of the individual or group they are attempting to lead or influence. One of the most widely recognized leadership concepts is the situational approach. As the name suggests, situational approach focuses on leadership in situations. The situational leadership approach uses two dimensions, the directive dimension and the supportive dimension. To determine what is required in which situation, the leader must evaluate his followers to assess how competent or committed they are to perform a given goal. The essence of situational leadership is that leaders adapt their style to the competence and commitment of their followers. Now we will talk about situational leadership styles. Situational leadership consists of two behavior patterns, directive behaviors and supportive behaviors. Directive behaviors are characterized by one-way communication, where the leader shows what and how things are to be done. For example, directive leaders may provide guidance and coaching, clarify an employee's roles and responsibilities, remove any obstacles that prevent completion of tasks, and give awards when appropriate. Next is supportive behaviors. They are characterized by two-way communication. Here, the team members are encouraged to get involved in solving problems and the decision-making processes. Examples of supportive behaviors include asking for input, solving problems, praising, sharing information about oneself, and listening. Now, we will learn about four categories of directive and supportive behaviors. The diagram below shows four different leadership styles of the situational leadership model. S1, which is also called as the directing approach, S2, which is called the coaching approach, S3, which is the supporting approach, and S4, which is called the delegating approach. As shown by the arrows on the bottom and left side of the model, directive behaviors are high in S1 and S2 quadrants and low in S3 and S4, whereas supportive behaviors are high in S2 and S3 and low in S1 and S4. Now, let's discuss each approach in detail. The first style is high directive, low supportive behavior. This is also called as the directing approach. In this approach, the leader focuses mainly on directive behaviors like communicating about the goal and spends smaller amount of time using supportive behavior. Here, the leader defines roles and tells people what and how things are to be done and how goals are to be achieved. This emphasizes directive behavior. The second style is the high directive, high supportive behavior. This is also called as the coaching approach. In this approach, the leader uses both directive and supportive behaviors. He focuses on both achievement of goals and meeting followers' socio-emotional needs. The coaching style requires that the leader involve himself or herself with the followers by giving them encouragement and seeking inputs from them. However, coaching style still requires that the leader make the final decision on what and how of goal accomplishment. The third style is the high supportive, low directive behavior. This is also called the supporting approach. In this approach, the leader does not just focus on goals, but uses supportive behaviors to bring out the necessary skills required by the followers. Supportive behaviors include listening, praising, asking for inputs, and giving feedbacks. A leader who is using this style gives the followers control to make day-to-day decisions, but he remains available to assist in any matters that arise. The fourth style is the low supportive, low directive behavior. This is also called as the delegating approach. Here, the leader provides less direction or support, thereby facilitating the team to do things on their own. The delegative leader lessens his involvement in planning, control of details, and goal clarification. The leader gives his control to the followers and refrains from interfering with unnecessary social support. So these were the four categories of directive and supportive behaviors. Now we will move on to the next major part of the situational leadership model, which is the developmental levels of the followers. The development level is the degree to which followers have the competence and commitment necessary to accomplish a goal. Stated in another way, it indicates whether a person has the skills to achieve a goal and whether the person has developed a positive attitude regarding the goal. So now we will move on to the four categories of development levels. The first one is the D1 followers. They are people who are low in competence but high in commitment. People here lack skills but are willing to do the necessary job tasks. They are motivated but are currently lacking the skills required for the job. The second one is D2 followers. They are people who have low to moderate competence but they are low in commitment. People here have started to acquire the skills required for a job, but they also have lost some of their motivation that they previously had. Next is the D3 followers. They are the ones who have moderate to high competence level, but they have variable commitment. That is, their commitment level varies from low to moderate to high. They have the skills for the job, but they are uncertain as to whether they can achieve the goal by themselves. The last one is D4 followers. These people have a high degree of competence and high motivation. People here are skilled and are willing to do what is required out of them. They also willingly take responsibility for the tasks. These were the four categories of development levels of followers. So till now, we have seen the four categories of directive and supportive behaviors of situational leadership styles. They are S1, which is the high directive and low supportive behavior, also known as the directing approach. S2, which is the high directive and high supportive behavior, also known as the coaching approach. S3, which is the high supportive and low directive behavior. It is also called as the supporting approach. S4, which is the low supportive and low directive behavior, also known as the delegating approach. We have also learned about a second aspect of the model, that is the development level of the followers. If followers are at D1 level, which is where they have low competence and high commitment, a leader who's of the directing kind can be a good fit for such followers. If followers are at the D2 level, where they have low to some competence and low commitment, a leader who's of the coaching kind can be a good fit for such followers. If followers are at D3 level, which is where they have moderate to high competence and variable commitment, a leader who's of the supporting kind can be helpful for such followers. If followers are at D4 level, which is where they have high competence and high commitment, a leader who's of the delegating kind can be helpful for such followers. How does the situational approach work? The situational approach is constructed around the idea that followers move forward and backward along the developmental continuum, which represents the relative competence and commitment of the followers. For leaders to be effective, it is essential that they determine where followers are on the developmental continuum and adapt their leadership styles so they directly can match their style to that development level. How to identify the situation? In a given situation, the first task for a leader is to determine the nature of the situation. Questions such as the following must be addressed. First, what goal are followers being asked to achieve? Second, how complex is the goal? Third, are the followers sufficiently skilled to accomplish the goal? Fourth, do they have the desire to complete the job once they start it? Answers to these questions will help leaders to identify the developmental level at which their followers are functioning. This learning will help you only if you practice it as a leader.